y'all know I'm Brenda. I'm going to do a lotion stick demonstration today. And I did one earlier today, but we were trying to make soap, and I think some of you got to see some things and some of you didn't. I have already melted my oils this morning. This morning, you know, they didn't want to melt, and I think we killed the microwave. So I've got the oils melted. I do want to tell you a couple quick things before I finish it because I'm waiting for my oils to cool just a tad. This is 2 ounces of shea butter, 2 ounces of cocoa butter, 4 ounces of beeswax, sweet almond oil of 2 ounces, and essential oil of your choice, 1 teaspoon. This morning I used Orange Valencia. It's a very mild oil. I put a little extra. I think I could have probably even put more than I put, but it's still a great lotion stick. This afternoon I'm going to use lavender. I'm about ready to do it. Almost. But I was going to give you a couple of other ideas, and I do this on a regular basis. This is a mold I got, I think, on Amazon.com. Amazon.com has 1,000 silicone molds. You can make little tiny lotion bars to put in gift bags. They're wonderful. The bags that she showed you for the soap will also go for the gift bars. You can get all different sizes of the soap at those little bags. The other thing I like to do is make roses. I love to make lotion roses. They are great to put in a small bowl, beautiful bowl for a container, wrap in cellophane, put a bow on them, and they make a great gift. If you hold a lotion, mine are called lotion dots. If you hold a lotion dot in your hand, you hold it for just barely a minute, the oil will actually melt in your hands. You can put the lotion dot back down, and it's a wonderful moisturizer. I do that on a pretty regular basis. But today we're going to put it in the lotion stick containers. I am ready to add my essential oils, and this time I thought y'all might want to come up and watch me pour it so you can see what it looks like as it's getting warm. Let me get my essential oil in here.
What did you cool your beeswax to?
I'm going to cool everything, I hope, to under 160. If you let it cool to much cooler than 140, it will set in your container. Lavender is a flash point of 150, but actually it won't flash off a lotion stick like it will soap. We're at 158. I'm going to let it cool down just a second, but I'm also tell you, you can color these, and you can color them with all types of colorants. You can infuse your oil, and I may talk about that tomorrow if we don't run out of time, to the color you want, and actually start your oils that color. I use Wilton Gel Food Colorant. You can use to color it with. It's a very good colorant, and of course it can be put on your mouth. I use that. But you can actually color all of this stuff, whether it's lip balm or lotions, and you can make them colors instead of just the white. Most of the time on my lotion sticks, I just make them white. It's lotion. You're not going to see inside this stick. Who cares what color it is? On the rose dots, I want pink or red. And on the bars, I pretty much do white. But I think I'm warm enough. I am. I'm going to cool enough to pour. And then I want y'all to see how this sets in the container. I do a half a pour or 3/4 pour. Let it start. As you can see at the end of this lip, it's already starting to harden on me. Sometimes I completely miss the container. We will see. Did I miss it?
There you go, turn one over.
Oh, well, I've done that so many times, it's not funny. I have turned them over. I've done the domino effect. You ought to try that one day. When everyone you've got still warm, it's not started to congeal yet, and you've knocked the whole one over like dominoes. More than one.
Oh.
Am I making y'all nervous?
Yes! Come on!
14. I'm gonna finish right there. One more. What I want y'all to do is then come look as the inside of them as they are. You can see what it's going to look like as they gel on the inside. And that way you'll know when I'm ready to pour. It's going to take probably about 2 or 3 minutes. If you want to, you'll be in front of the camera, but y'all can just come look real quick as watch them as they start.
Yeah, if you don't want to be on the camera, don't go up there.
And if you look at my container, you'll also see how it's gelling on my container. I will probably have to remelt that once again in order to finish the pour. We can see, if you can see the ones that have been poured longer than the others. And when they get almost completely the color of the inside of the container, it's time to pour again.
Pretty neat.
No, you're a first time social? We finished the interview. Did she have you yet, Darlene?
How is it? I don't know where it's at.
I don't either.
Can you see?
I can see you.
Okay, well that's good enough. In about 5 minutes, I'm gonna finish the pour, but it's not, they're not quite warm. Any questions real quick before the pour is ready to be finished?
Yes, if you use that
Just right here,
Wilson
we gotta
color
turn it.
for your roses, is that not going to get on your skin and stain it?
I haven't had any problem with that, but I don't normally, on these, I usually infuse my oils. I'm a big oil infuser, and if I want my oil to look a certain color, then I usually infuse the oil and get that to begin with. This is Jell-O. The question was, will the Wilton gel colorants come off in your hands? I haven't had that problem, and I've used those a lot. In body baths, products like foaming bath balls, that type of things, I really use it more in that. In this, I mainly infuse my oils, and I make the oil the color that I want the product. By making it, one, it's not gonna, whether it's soap or lotion or whatever, I'm not going to get anything on my hands except white bubbles if it's soap. I'm not going to get a colorant on my mouth if it's lip balm. I'm not going to get a colorant on my hand because I've made the oil that color. And that's how I do most of my colors. I will talk to y'all about that tomorrow, but I've got to finish my pour. Y'all get me talking and I forget what I'm doing.
All right, so now what did you think about the essential lip balm? All right, so.
It had like 3 or 4 different alcohols in it.
Finishing the pour. Hopefully this will be it.
Well,
This is my crock pot, it's my oils that I'm gonna use tomorrow. My lime
So
water
after
is
dinner,
over
you're
there.
gonna show me the
Put
lake.
it on it, unplug it, and take it over there. And then
Maybe
if
get you
you
the
have time, excuse me, you wanna get all of
my youngest son,
all of the strips, power strips.
I said you get it before you go.
Any other questions?
Would you tell us where you got the new containers again?
SKS. The name where I got the container is SKS.
Then it's running gasoline. Some places out. My boat's small. It takes just 10 horse. It's not kilos.
Then once they get cool, and they will cool in just a very few minutes, I clean them up, put the lid on them, put some type of labeling on them, and they're ready to go. It's that simple. These will be ready before tonight's out. I'll finish them up in a little while. Tomorrow morning, everybody will get a bar or get a stick.
Question.
Ma'am? Sir?
All right. Just to ask a question, maybe I don't know if it. Did also, instead of using the sweet almond oil, as far as I've found it and read it, they said you can use the rice bran.
You can?
Because the rice bran has vitamin E already.
Wonderful.
Yes.
You can add vitamin E to this recipe. You can take,
That one is already in.
you can use jojoba oil.
Yeah.
You can use hemp seed oil. You can pretty much change the oils to make anything
With
you
the
want,
same-
except you have to have properties that, and mainly the beeswax will take care of it, but make sure that the properties of the oils you are replacing kind of match so that you have an overall good property of oil. You don't want it to be very drying out. I would not put coconut oil in any product like that. You can use olive oils. Of course, olive oil you can use for anything. Absolutely anything. I love jojoba oil. I love it. I love avocado oil. But those oils have gotten so expensive that I've tried to come up with a really good recipe that's not terribly expensive to make, but yet it's really high quality oils. So you can pretty much mix and match anything you want to. Any other questions? Ma'am?
Well,
Speak louder, I can't hear you. Right? I can.
Yes, it's awesome. It's really awesome. But I'm the best.
Oh, yes, I'm a little low on the giggle bar, but I think I'll have it.
Yeah, I could infuse, you can infuse tons of oil in flowers and herbs. And I'll tell you about that. I haven't got into that yet, which I want to. My husband's going to do a greenhouse for me this year, and we're going to do the herbs. But you really have to study on how to infuse your herbs. They have to be completely dried, and you have to be very careful because you can cause great problems by not drying herbs correctly. So you need to do that. This is a finished product.
Woohoo! That's awesome. Pour right while I've got it up close and they can see what you're doing up close.
Is it different than the regular food?
Just about done with my oil, so it's not working as well as it did earlier, but we're done.
All right. Thank you, Brenda. Thank y'all. Smile. Say bye to YouTube.
Bye, YouTube!
Okay, everybody. Brenda here is going to do us a
Lotion Stick.
lotion stick demo. So enjoy, everybody.
I do lotion sticks, and actually all my grandchildren love them, all my children love them, and all the ladies I work with love them. And they're very simple. I buy these containers from SKS, and I put lotion, and I put enough beeswax in it that the lotion is hard enough. It is actually a little bit harder than a chapstick, and it makes for a wonderful put in your purse. Of course, I got gloves on, it's kind of hard. It's not greasy. It goes away in just a second. You don't have to worry about having a lotion bottle in your purse. And I mean, my family and friends love these things. I am told that if you have a place on you, and I haven't had one, so I don't know, but they said they get little itchy places for whatever reason, and they carry these around and it'll actually make it go away. Now, I don't know if that's the truth, and I haven't personally witnessed that, but that's what I'm told. The recipe is on page 10 of your book, or 11, excuse me, it's on page 11.
Ms. Rickard, can you double the recipe, right? Just
You can double it, triple it. I actually use Soap Maker 3. That's the software I use. That software will double it for you. It'll break it in half for you. It'll do everything you want and make all the numbers come out right. This particular recipe that I'm using makes approximately 18 sticks.
Oh, that's a lot.
That's a pretty good bit of stick. These are 0.5 ounces. That's what each one holds. Most things that I make small. And the reason I do that is because, well, I'm just a freak. I think that if it's, 2 or 3 months old, it needs to go in the garbage and not be fresh. So I don't make anything that's going to last a real long time because then I'm not going to use it anyway. And so it's wasted. So I make a lot of small things. The first thing I'm going to weigh out and put in the microwave is my beeswax. Now, I don't know if any of y'all deal with beeswax very often, but it is hard to melt. And there you go.
Okay. For those of you who measured
4
your oils
ounces of
already,
beeswax.
we need to microwave, but we want to walk around the room and come over here on this side, not go across the camera.
You're going to have to wait a minute.
It'll take just a few minutes for her.
Yep, and my scale's acting up.
You're using the microwave for your demo, aren't you?
I am.
All right, never mind.
Linda, the difference in the white and the yellow, do you prefer the white?
I prefer the yellow.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I just didn't have any on hand. I prefer everything that I can get my hands on unrefined. But I'm also, like everybody else in this economy, and I'm cost conscious. And if somebody puts something on sale and I can grab me some, I'm just so I have a box of white. If it doesn't get it hot enough, then sometimes I will put it in for just a second. But Shea Butter just doesn't do well under high heat. And it will also kill a lot of the properties of the Shea Butter if you melt it up too high. It also becomes very grainy.
Can you use it over like steaming water? Can you do that? Like
You can always do a double boiler to melt your oils. If I was really good, I'd do that every time, but I'm not. I'm, a product of the microwave generation. I'm going to use the microwave. I know a lot of people don't like that, but that's just who I am. But if you've got a double boiler system, it's great. Another thing is, if you can melt all your oils in a crock pot, a small crock pot. Okay, we're back. We finally found a microwave that would melt our oils, and I've melted all the oils but the Shea Butter. And the reason why I did not melt it is Shea Butter does not work well under direct heat. It will become very, very grainy. So what I try to do is take the hot oils that are already melted and add my Shea Butter to it. I have added, at this point, where's my thing? My 2 ounces of Essential Depot cocoa butter.
All of that?
No, 2 ounces. 2 ounces. I have added the beeswax. I'll show you. I have added 4 ounces of beeswax, and I used the pastels. I added 2 ounces of sweet almond oil, and this is just a bottle that I had at the house, and I filled it up with sweet almond oil. And I'm fixing to add 2 ounces of the Shea Butter. And I'm going to let it melt in my... Shea Butter is very soft. It's not a really hard butter. And most of the time, it'll melt pretty easy if you put it in something really hot.
minute book.
Oh, okay.
You said something about the calculation you used to double this and triple it.
I use Soap Maker 3. That is a soaping software that you can buy online. You can download it online, and it has been. I mean, I don't know the people. This is certainly not any type of advertisement for them, but it was just one I found a number of years ago, and there's a lot of tools in it. You can split a recipe, double a recipe. You can do just about anything you want to. It'll tell you how much it costs per bar to make a lotion bar. Let's see if I can find. I'll find it in a minute, but your lotion bars. This particular recipe cost me $4.97, so I got 18 bars. Now, the only thing I don't know, I do have the calculation in there. The lotion bar that I'm looking at here was a lavender essential oil that I made. And Kim, I'm gonna need your thing for about 1 minute to finish this.
Oh, okay.
Just 1 minute. And it'll be done. And normally I don't do that, but just for a minute, it shouldn't hurt my shea butter, because it will get grainy. And as soon as it's melted, I can have it. It's just a tiny bit. Now, I'm gonna make orange. I've got orange Valencia here. It's essential oil. And I'm gonna use a teaspoonful of
Megan.
the orange Valencia. Let's see. Yep. Make sure this is melted. It is. I'm going to put 1 teaspoon, and I will tell you, I just know this because I worked with orange Valencia a good bit. Probably needed just a tad more than a teaspoon, but I let some dribble off, so that's fine. It's not quite as strong as some of your other oils that I've noticed. Now, what I try to do is pour it at below 160 or 40, depending on how you think it looks and what oils are in it. And the reason for that is if you pour it really hot into these containers, it just runs all out. It's not going to stay in the container, and it's just going to pool up and make a big mess. So I have found that the colder I can pour it, the better off I am. The other thing about pouring, and that you'll see, you pour it in 2 stages. I will pour about 3/4 of these containers, and then I'll stop. And the reason I do that is still pretty hot. And I want it to settle in the bottom of this lotion container so that sometimes, and it'll do this on lip balms as well, you'll get a little tiny hole in the middle of that liquid. And if you let it set, pour it twice, it'll fill that hole in, become completely solid, and then you won't have a hole down the middle of your container. Now, I'm a firm believer in an infrared thermometer. I don't go anywhere without it. I know Kim uses a lot of different kinds of thermometers. There is the one that this doesn't do well for. It does great for this. But when you're letting your soap cool down to 160 degrees to get your essential oils or whatever in it, if you use one of these and you've not stirred it immediately before you use it, you're going to get the top temperature and not your internal temperature, and there can be a 20-degree difference. Here, I'm getting the temperature almost all the way through the table. This is completely liquid, and your soap's not that way. So even though I love my infrared thermometer, make sure that if you use it making soap, that you don't just get the top of your soap temperature and your soap's too hot in the middle and you add your essential oil. And I don't know about any of y'all, but I've flashed more essential oil off in my soaps. If your soap is really, really hot and you have a low flash point essential oil, it will literally go poof when you put it into your soap. And it's a very little value.
So do you use it for soap and just make sure, or do you
I
use?
use essential oils all the time.
No, I mean,
I do.
But you
I
just
do,
make sure you.
But
I
I've
got
used
you.
it so long and
I got
I know pretty much
got
that
you.
I've got all my good temperatures.
I got you.
What other kind of thermometers do you use if you don't use that?
Meat cooking thermometers,
Candy
candy
thermometers.
thermometers.
Candy thermometer.
Yeah, but I use a meat thermometer.
And even some thermometers you buy, even though they say they're accurate, and the meat thermometers that have the steel gauge, you need to check them. Put them in a glass of ice water,
Make
and
sure.
it should go to 32 degrees. If it don't, there's a little nut on the bottom you can loosen and turn it to 32 degrees and retighten it, and it gets you accurate.
I never used a meat, I used a candy.
Yeah.
Can you use a digital thermometer too for that?
Now, are you talking about the digital thermometer that it's got a little little thing you poke into the? This is the digital. This is an infrared digital thermometer. It shoots a line. See the laser on the wall?
I'm talking a probe. Would you use a probe?
The probe.
those are good.
Yeah,
Those
those
are
are good. That's what I was trying to ask. It's
Okay.
got the probe in it.
The only problem with the digital, you can't adjust them if they're off.
Oh, okay.
I drove a refrigerated truck for a long time, and I had to use accurate thermometers or you lose your freight. And I bought several digitals, the little digital things on there, and I found them to be off several times over a couple of degrees. So you can't really.
This is making
and there's
me
no-
hungry.
And there's no
That's
adjustment.
orange.
That's the problem.
Smells good.
If they have
Smells
some way of
good.
adjusting them, then
Where do you get something like that?
This, Amazon. They're not that expensive. You can get some pretty expensive.
my candy store's got them too.
Huh? Candy, yes.
Harbor Freight, my candy store.
Yeah. Harbor Freight has everything.
I love that Harbor. That's my
Yeah.
candy
I
store.
was actually wondering if they did have it.
Yeah, I think they do.
I try to get this below. I try to let this get below 160 degrees because that way it's not going to run out the bottom of my containers. If you're really patient, if you can get it to 140, but I will tell you, once it gets under 140, it will basically solidify in the container. So if you let it get that cold, you better pour it very, very quickly. I'm still at 166, maybe about another 2-3 minutes and I can start pouring. I don't have a pouring tray for the lotion sticks. I've not found one yet, so I have to do it by hand. Sometimes I'm good at it, sometimes I'm not. I always keep a paper or something under my containers because I'm gonna spill it, absolutely.
Do you need somebody to help you, Brenda?
No, I'm just gonna spill it just because I'm gonna spill it.
What did you say?
I'm gonna try.
Meat thermometers about that big around. They just got steel
Okay,
toe.
everybody,
And you
she's
notice on the
pouring.
bottom of them, they
I'm
have
pouring.
This on the bottom.
Now I poured 3/4 of that. It looks to me like it's gonna be hot enough so that I can continue pour. If you can get close enough, you can see that as it comes out of the top of this glass, it's already starting to set. I probably will have to put it back in the microwave for just a second when I get lower down.
Now, you're preventing bubbles and stuff too, right? By doing this 2 times, letting it settle and...
I've never really had a lot of trouble with those.
Okay. I thought it was a bubble.
No, when you talk about it, it'll have a hole right down the middle of it where it settles. And this will prevent that hole a lot of times, and it'll completely fill the container.
So you are all of me. You are all of me. We know where we can get hit.
Like I said, sometimes I'm good and sometimes I'm not so good.
I can tell that this is gonna be a hot one. And it's only on low.
Yeah, then I want to take that temperature. Yeah, I am gonna do this one more time today, and everybody will get to take home a lotion stick.
Thank you.
This group I've got is orange. I will do a lavender, and see that one just didn't go anywhere that it was supposed to.
She has got a steady hand.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I did. I missed one whole container. I missed it. Now, you cannot see inside these containers, but you can see them as it's setting up. And what happens, if you can see the rim of that, as it sets up, it becomes that color. So you know that the product is just about set. And as you watch that, that'll pretty much tell me when I want to go back and pour the second. I usually always end up putting it back in the microwave for just a second. And you see it'll literally create is it icicle?
It's like hanging right off the lip.
I know, it just hangs right off the lip. And you can take that actually and put it back in, but I'm not going to do that right now. This recipe makes about 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16. I've only poured 16 because I want to make sure that I've got enough to re-pour all of them, and then I'll finish it up. But I'm almost ready to start re-pouring some of these.
Hey, Kim?
I think the microwave just died. That's not good. No, that doesn't help me at all. Yeah, and they all had to leave.
Oh, wow. So do you work now or do you do something? But do you do cosmetics or anything else that is, you just wanted to learn? Okay. Well, I got into essential oils and I'll make sure Amazon found essential oils.
Y'all see how that's created that? Oh, look. I am going to have to probably reheat this, but unfortunately, I don't think our microwave is working. It is. on Page. Yeah, yeah, can you see the inside of the container?
I can see on the top of those that you're.
Right.
You're going.
This is almost too cold. I'm gonna have
This one just told them the microwave sheet totally quit.
apparently, I don't know, I'm fixing to find out. It may have blown a circuit.
Using it so much.
Yeah, this, I'm gonna have to, yeah.
How long after you get those poured do you let those sit?
24 hours.
They're totally.
Oh, yeah. They're done long before 24 hours, but I just let them set for 24 hours. I usually go up about an hour after I've poured them and clean them up because it's easier to get the residual.
They're getting so hard. I mean,
Yeah, and see, I've still got this much in here. And what I would normally do is I would find my microwave, I would remelt all that, and I'd pour more. But seeing as we've got microwave problems, I'm probably. Let me tell y'all something about beeswax, and y'all need to listen to me on this one. Beeswax will kill your plumbing. Absolutely will kill your plumbing. It is very easy to put this back in the microwave, melt this back down, and normally you would have most of it poured. I don't have a microwave, so I'm going to waste this product. But I would clean it all out, put it back in the microwave, melt it down. It will wipe out with a paper towel beautifully, just beautifully. And then you can throw the paper towel away. If you let this melted beeswax go down your drain, it does not come out easily. You do not wipe it out with a paper towel, and it can ruin your drain. Absolutely. No, it will. Well, y'all saw how hard it was to melt that beeswax. You can't get any water hot enough to melt the beeswax. It ain't gonna happen. So be very careful that beeswax doesn't get in your drain. Well, I think that's the conclusion of this one. We will do it again later. Wait just a second. Can somebody turn off the video, the camera? And then we'll talk. Then we'll talk.